chipping away at them. I tried to do some of the cell line metadata stuff this morning to get a start on that. But yeah, well, we can talk to the others and see what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. This is Wen from Cincinnati. Hi, Dave. That are you the contact person from Rod? There's some
sort of. I've been doing a lot of the work getting our data into Geo.
Okay. Where's the echo? I noticed on Geo there's an update on this particular GSE just 2 days ago. Do you know what's being updated?
Let me think. What did I do? It was pretty minor. It wasn't a change to any of the data.
Okay.
I don't know if it was a metadata change or not. I have to check my notes. But I think, yeah, I emailed. I think it was actually the change. Sorry, now I'm remembering. I asked the Geo curator to add our support email address in the series summary.
Oh, okay. So it's not okay.
Yeah. They had gotten a question and that really they just forwarded to us, and I was like, oh yeah, thank you, but and just to save you the hassle of that, let's put, or at least give our email address there.
So we are still expecting Arvin to join.
I thought so. Let me. I know his schedule's a little hectic. Let me just poke my head around real quick. If you give me 10 seconds, I'll be right back.
Okay, thank you.
Are we still having echo issues? No.
So I think the echo was coming from Dave, and since he stepped away, he probably muted his mic. So,
Okay, so I think he's talking to the microphone but listening to the speakers, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, I didn't see him. I don't know what his schedule is. It might make sense for us to just go ahead and we can catch him up. And I can field questions, and, you know, I have some sense of, I think, what he'd want us to do, but I can also, you know, just talk to him after the meeting.
Okay, let's go ahead. He did invite invitation, so for 11:30, but let's start. So you can see the screen, right?
Yep, the document.
So basically, right, a Google Doc we share with you. I don't know if you had a chance to go through that, but these are the issues that we have documented so far. And I try to categorize them, so basically we can, you know, like break it down into specific tasks and maybe specific people working on these issues. So one is this entity category issue. I think we went over that like earlier. So basically for cells, we don't know what's the cell type, if it's a cell line, if it's a differentiated cell, just the way that it's organized right now. So we will need some extra files with these definitions in there. So the next type of issues is basically the missing metadata.
Right. Can sorry, for that first one, can you you probably have this somewhere, and I apologize for not having it, but do you have, can you in this document, can you add a link to your I think your main metadata file where you define what those cell categories are?
Yes, actually, they're on the linksproject.org. The release metadata standards. So you can always find in here like up to date. So let me just put that at the top of the other document.
Yes.
So you can always talk to them.
Yeah. So my plan, just to sort of, I do want to go through we can absolutely go through all these issues, but my plan would be to, we've got our cell info file that's attached to the links pilot phase data series, GSE 92742. My plan is to try to reconcile that with these, to correct these issues in that file. So for example, I'd add a column to that file that contains the cell category.
Okay. Yes.
Does that make sense?
But that will be perfect. Yes, that will be perfect actually.
Great. So then,
right. So it can be in that one, and then from there, like we can track like through the other files,
right,
corresponding to the metadata of that. So
right.
that's perfectly fine. Like you don't. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, then the cell ID will be sort of the join column between the other metadata files and this cell info file, and then basically I'll have a master version of that file, and I'll probably make subset versions of it that are relevant to GSE 92742, so the links pilot phase, and then a separate one I'll put up on GSE 70138, which is the links phase 2 data, which will just have the cell information relevant to that. That is probably partly for, maybe that's not the best way to do it. I can also just give you guys directly that master file, so you don't need to worry about aggregating those together.
I think either way will work. Like if it's in the master or it's like a separate file. So we're just going to map from file to the file. Okay,
great. All right, so this first one is category of cells. Number 2 is cell type.
So we're going to say then that Dave is going to work on that. Do you need any help from DCIC? Like in case you need it, maybe someone can help you, like Danny, for example, or Voss?
I think what would be most useful would be let me give it a shot, and then I can email you if I have questions, if I'm not sure about exactly how to. The other thing I would say is, like, do you have, maybe this is at that link above, do you have examples of like some fairly standard cancer cell lines where people have filled in this metadata already? And then I could sort of use that as a cheat sheet or as a sort of guidance for what you're expecting for ones that cell lines I already know about and have a good understanding of their metadata
That's
fields.
a good idea. Yes, we do that. We'll send you the sample.
Yeah, if I don't know, if it's, you can either, if it's publicly available, you can add the link to this document or you can send it to me, but yeah, that would be great.
Right. We have it actually in the link data portal, like all the metadata.
Okay.
But like you can look there, but we can also like just export like a 5 to 10 cell lines from the from our tables, and then
that would be perfect. Yeah, just
you.
an example to work from would be excellent.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and if you could, I don't know if this isn't too hard. If you could include examples that are cancer cell lines, immortalized, normals, differentiated. I think those are the 3 main high-level ones. If I have an example of each of those, that'll really get me in good shape.
Okay, so we're gonna follow up by email on this, and just like for the categorization, we're also gonna clear that out because differentiated cells are different category than the cell lines.
Yep.
And then like immortalized, well, we have us online actually. So for this cell categorization, he's probably the most competent to comment where this should be classified.
Great.
Okay, so we're making an action item. So we're going to have Dave, Abbas, and Danny figuring out the metadata for the cells with some samples that we have previously received from the other sensors. Okay, let me move to the next one. I think this is kind of like, touching, we already kind of like touched on this, like saying differentiated cells, and then, primary cells, obviously they have different categories, and then cell lines. And then these were the list of missing metadata specifications based on information that was previously provided to us. And as you can see, some of these required, that we call it here importance 1 metadata specifications, they're still not there. So we're going to also, like as we work, I guess, for this, like giving you example in the template, right? So I think that's going to be self-explanatory in there. Like basically for the differentiated cells, this is what you need to provide.
Right.
So now one other thing, Adam is not here, but actually I was just emailing Josh, and I just want some new
actually, I want to just sorry to
Hi,
jump in.
Jessica. Sorry, I'm running a little late, but I'm here now.
Hey, Arvind, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So we went already. We already are solving all the issues here.
Good.
So yeah. So actually we're talking about this entity categorization issue that we had. So basically specifying the cell type, and also we're getting out to the metadata. And this is also like related. So first we need to know what's the specific cell type, and then there are different specifications that correspond to different types, because you want to capture different things about primary cells, for example, versus iPSCs. So this is all defined here under the metadata standards, the first link in here. So you can find every single entity category in there, and then list, actually I can just quickly open it, like for the cell lines, this is the list of all the fields, all the specifications, and then what is required, and description and some additional comments to it. So, but I was just saying, NIH wants some kind of like new report on the data set level that's gonna basically estimate the metadata coverage. So basically, as you know, we have 3 types of specifications when it comes to importance. Importance 1, 2, and 3, where importance 1 is required. Importance 2 is required if available, which means it's required. And then the 3 is kind of like optional. So, and it will be really good, like whatever guys you have, like if you have these fields, either they're like not required or optional, it will be good you provide them. Because we're going to be creating some type of like bonus points, so that, like basically saying that this center, in addition to the minimal information, is providing some extra metadata for the entities. So you will get bonus points if you provide, more than just importance 1 metadata specifications. So yes, I will encourage you to do that if you have that information. I already talked to Josh about that. We're trying to figure out what can be populated for the extra, I mean not extra, but like what, like beyond the minimum information.
That came in here real quick. That was RJ's idea, by the way, not ours. So.
Right, that's what I'm saying. NIH wants these reports. I didn't want to call the name. Yes, but it was RJ. So, and we're gonna start actually. Right, we're gonna start actually. I just saw the email for the agenda for the steering committee on Monday, and that's gonna be one of the items on the agenda. Like having these reports, I guess it's gonna be some type of discussion. And DTIC is gonna be calculating this metadata coverage.
Yeah, that's good. But as Stefan, as you mentioned the other day, we're going to get this done before it goes into the RPPR. It's not.
Okay, yeah. Like. Well, let's get it done, and let's just work together as closely as we can on this. So it will be good, because honestly, if you get it done, if one group gets it done, it also makes it harder for the others, kind of not to do it in a way, right? So.
Yeah, it goes down.
Exactly.
Pain in the neck. So yes, I completely agree. And obviously we have to see how it plays out over the next week, but it's I think to both our best interest to get this done.
Yeah, exactly. We really need to get this. This is becoming a real drag, right? So we need to just get it out of the way. Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't want to get lost in all these little specifications here, but what I really want to get out from this meeting is to have a concrete plan who is going to be working with whom, like between the 2 groups, on getting this done. So we already went over the categories issues, and as I mentioned, we're going to have Dave from Road and then Danny and Ross from BPIC, like helping each other to put this information together. And I would say, like, once we're going to have this sample sent today so that he can see how the other centers provide information, I think we can also figure out these metadata issues here. I think it should be straightforward from here.
So, Dusika, do you mind, can I just ask a few more fundamental questions on the cell metadata things?
Mm-hmm. Yes, go ahead.
We have, okay, so I just want to make sure I understand what are the, just to take this up one notch to where can I see the kinds of cells that you care about? Right? So this is, I see on this data standards page, I see cell lines, differentiated cells, embryonic stem cells, iPSCs, and primary cells. Are those the types of cells that you categorize all cells under?
That's what we had so far. If you had any other type of cells, then we will have to basically develop the metadata specifications. And I think that's what happened like last year with the embryonic stem cells. Last, okay. You can comment. I think that was like 1 or 2 embryonic stem cells, and basically we established a new category, and then we developed the metadata specifications for that. It depends what the links as consortium need. Right? For any type of entity, we are not limiting you, and we're saying you can just test these 4 types of cells. You test whatever you need to test, whatever you want to test, but if it's a new category.
Yeah, so to me these ones are, I think they capture everything we work with now. One question though is if we, so especially for CRISPR screening, we modify a given cell type by inserting Cas9, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have seen our CRISPR uploads, you'll see situations where you see, MCF7.Cas9. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. And we have the appropriate fields to capture the chains.
Okay, good. So that's
under the cell line.
So I'm just catching up. So you don't, that still stays a cancer cell line, but you have a field called genetic modification that captures that?
Is that, yeah, that was my exact question from earlier today. Is that where we should put that modification?
And the other thing too is that we also have the nucleic acid entities as well, and you would put the CRISPR info in there as well. But yes, so like Dushik's showing right here, we've got the genetic modification, and that's where you put it. I think we mentioned specifically CRISPR in the description as well.
Yeah.
As an example.
Yeah.
But there is an issue here, right? One is that there are, actually, this may work, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought when you mentioned genetic modification. I thought that was where I would put the Cas9, that they'd been stably transfected to express Cas9.
So, but what happens in a situation where, so just to be clear, what we are talking about is not the manipulation of a given gene by CRISPR. So, for example, you can knock out a particular gene by CRISPR and you can get a cell line. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, this for the Cas9.
Yes, right?
We're talking just about we added Cas9 to the cell line.
Yep.
Okay. But what happens if we also do that modification, right?
I think that both of these can be
in that same field. I am agreeing with you. I just want to make sure. Yes.
Yes, and essentially you would write it out just in like the standard way where you would just put the gene and then like plus plus or minus minus or whatever it have like a minus minus, I guess, for a knockout. But yeah, that should be fine because the genetic modification as the field is made to be all encompassing and all inclusive in that way.
Okay. Do you have a flow chart, a figure of any sort that describes the kinds of cells? Like what differentiates, what is different between a primary cell and actually what is different between an iPSC and an ES cell?
So an IPS is the induced pluripotent stem cells. Those are the differentiated cells that are reprogrammed back to the embryonic-like state. And then the embryonic stem cells are ones that are taken from actual embryos, whether human or animal. The primary cells are cells that are taken from an in vivo environment and then plated in vitro and allowed to, normally they don't propagate too much, but it would be like, so in the lab I work in, we take hippocampal neurons. So we take those and then put them in dishes, and then we only leave them for a few days, but those are primary cells.
So if you can see my screen, actually, there is a categorization or classification if you're here. So where we describe the different cell types. I don't know if you need like a little bit more details here, if it's not clear. This is, by the way, in the data working group, Nikki.
Okay. And
so
do you, this is excellent, actually. I like this. Do you have, for each of these buckets, do you have a list of what cell lines have currently been registered in each of these buckets? Where do I see that?
They should
that's
be on
in
the
the
links data
portal, right? Right. They're in the links data portal.
Is there a... So when I go to links data portal /cells, I see a table with many different things in it, but I see the category that's synchronized with this metadata.
Let me bring it up. So
sure.
Okay. So here, if you go to the links data portal to the cells, then there is here the top category, cell lines, primary cell. This is based again like on the current categories that we had under links.
Right.
That we had the metadata specification for. So here you have like we have like 1,000 cell lines.
Right.
And then you can also, and then primary cells like 43, for example, and so on. So you can find this information in the links data portal.
Okay, good, good. So, but how do I find a cell line that has been genetically modified in some way?
Also, just to catch you up, they're going to send me examples of all the major types with the full data export as people have filled them in to use as a crib sheet. But I think, yeah, it's important to know where we can go look at them more generally.
Well, I think if you want to find one, you basically just need to look through and just sort of click on several and see if any of them have modifications. Because in this view that Dushiksa is showing right now, we don't have that information immediately visible. So you have to go here, and I think you even need to download the full metadata from a data set that utilizes it. So
right,
we do have it. Yes.
The reason I'm asking is because how do I see relationships between cells, right? So for example, in our compound screening, we use MCF7. In our CRISPR screening, we use those same MCF7 cells that have been Cas9 derivatized.
So there is
a few those in different categories. They're still MCF7.
There is a field in the
here. If you see my screen, yeah, go ahead. I think I'm correct.
On that if you already previously registered a cell line and then you modified it somehow, then you can couple them together using those fields.
All right, that's good. I think that works for us.
Yes, that's analogous to something we have.
That's good. So we call it parietal, but this sounds good too. So for example, when the neurons that we used to use, NEU, those came from NPC. So in NPC, our precursor cell name would be the fibroblast or whatever was the source.
Right, or maybe the iPSC that it's derived from.
Yeah.
So NEU would be NPC, would be the precursor cell.
Yes, and so if you have NPC specifically, then more than likely that would be a cell line, and then the precursor would be the already registered, whether it's an ES or an IPS or And if it's an IPS, then the IPS would have the precursor of the fibroblast or wherever the IPS was derived from. So you would have that whole thing. And then the differentiated cell category, that's for terminally differentiated ones. So if you guys are going to like motor neurons or astrocytes or glial or whatever they are, then you would use the differentiated cell category. Does that make sense?
Yep, I think so.
Okay. Essentially, the idea is that they're split by the potency and their ability to propagate in vitro. That's essentially where the splits come from in the different categories.
So in the cell line stuff, in the cell type stuff, do you have any remaining questions, Dave? Have you looked over the fields?
Yeah, I reviewed the document they sent. I think the next step is me just take another crack at it based on the field descriptions of what we have.
Well, if we don't have data, so if we don't have data for a given field, right? There are a few possibilities, right? One possibility is just it's not applicable, like known mutations. What can I ask here? I suppose if we don't have data for a field or it's not applicable, what do? We just leave it empty?
Right. I mean, that was, for some of them, we don't have a cell source ID. Like we got it from a collaborator at Harvard University. They don't have a special ID like a cell catalog ID. So I would leave that blank.
Okay. And
or you can say not applicable. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So is the next thing for us internally just to work on this?
I think
and then get back to them.
They're gonna put someone in touch with me that I can ping when I have questions, and hopefully we can get a quick turnaround for those. They've provided a lot of the documentations. They're going to provide me good crib sheet examples, and I'll just work through what we have. I told them earlier at the start, I'm going to have a master sheet for all of our cell info, both the pilot phase and the other, and then we can split that up on the individual series as needed, and we can send them the master one, or they can take from Geo, and yeah, I'll take a good crack at this, getting stuff filled in.
Right. I mean, if needed, we can just have like a smaller group meeting, like just few people, like Dave and maybe Vas and Danny, whoever is needed in a meeting. So like a working meeting, like, if you need some explanation about the specifications, the metadata, whatever. So we will be available for that.
Yeah, I think we can play it by ear. Like if email works okay, that's great. If we need to have a get together, I appreciate the offer, and I'll definitely take you up on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like whatever you need, like, just like if you get stuck, like, just send an email and then we go from there.
Great.
All right. So these are like all like known issues, like metadata stuff. Let me scroll further down. So we had some questions. This is from Ben. Actually, Ben is online. He's from Mario's group, part of the DCIC2. So he looked at the pilot phase data that has been re-released in Geo, and he found some discrepancies here. I think we can also like identify maybe who's going to look at this like a little bit more carefully into the details from Broad.
We will look at it. We have Rajiv Narayan, who has assembled much of his underlying data. He just joined us, so he can help us look at this too.
Yeah, I think I read through this, and I think they're mostly clear, and I think we can just use this. This is well written. We can look at it on our own. If we have questions, we can just email you.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, but that will be Rajiv, right?
I think Dave should be the point person on our site, and he can coordinate internally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. So we're going to channel everything, I guess, through Dave. Okay. And then the data processing, is that okay?
What's that?
Is it okay to get everything through Dave?
Yes. You're just giving me a hard time, but yes, it is.
All right. And the last one is the data processing pipeline. So basically there is a level 5 data that's also the question that was brought up by Mario's group. So if you probably know actually that Mario's group is trying to go through all the pipelines from all sensors for all data types and basically validate the pipelines, look at the documentation. The goal is basically testing and validating everything to be sure that's informed, that can be served to the community, to the end user, and that they can also understand what's done and how it can be, how the result can be reproduced. So basically being sure that some external person can rerun everything. So here they actually pointed this out. There is a level 5 data right now in the current release of Geo, but it seems the pipeline, the data processing pipeline is still the old one that goes up to the level 4. So
Yeah,
for
okay.
that needs to be updated, like the data processing pipeline, like with the necessary scripts, and also documentation needs to be updated.
Yeah, we're good. We're in the process of reworking our GitHub repository. So as part of that, I think next week you should see the level 5 stuff there.
Okay.
Okay,
That sounds good.
Great.
And actually, there is another level, higher level than level 5. This CGS. It's an aggregation of level 5 data, right? CGS.
That we consider that level 5. So
okay. All right. Okay.
Okay. So next week, if you don't hear back from you, we're just going to contact Dave again, I suppose, to see what the status is.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So we're at the end of this document. Did I miss anything? Any other issues? So we have Lars and Danny from Miami, and we have Van and John from Cincinnati group. Did you guys wanted to bring up anything else?
I have one request. So if there's any update on Geo, I wouldn't know whether there's actually the data being updated or some other not that important information being updated. So if there's any major update, unless you change the file name with the timestamp, can you let us know there's a major update submitted to Geo so we can check it out?
Yeah, I mean, I think just to give Arvin and Rajiv some context, like earlier this week, I requested to the Geo Curator to add our help email address to the summary. And that just shows up as they just see that as a change to the series. Other people see that, oh, the series is changing. They don't know if that was a data change or was it just some minor text change. So they don't know if they need to reprocess things.
Okay, we'll just tell you if it's something major.
We can,
okay.
we can let you know.
That'd be great. Okay.
Okay, so then I think we have a little plan here with a few action items. And we have the names. So we have Dave basically for all of these topics regarding the metadata and the processing pipelines from the road. So Josh is for small molecules, that's fine. And then from DCIC, we have Danny and Vas when it comes to the cell categories and the metadata. And then for the phase 1 data issues and the data processing pipeline, we're going to have Ben from DCIC. How does that sound?
That sounds good. It'd be great. Can you share this with me and maybe fill in email addresses? You can fill in mine, and if you could, the other email addresses for people I can contact would be great.
All right. So I'm going to put the little plan actually at the end of the issue document with a date, and great. I'm going to put. I'm going to send it by email to everyone still, but I'm just for the tracking purposes, we're going to do it here.
Excellent.
And today is April 21st. Okay, and I think with this, we're just going to follow up by email, and let's aim for the end of next week to have everything done, including the data processing pipeline. Is that reasonable?
Yep.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Any other comments?
No, it sounds good.
All right, perfect. Then thank you everyone for joining today. And let's just get it done now.
Great. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.